Hello everyone, Kristina here. Welcome to another live stream here on my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be using the Long Line Lilies bundle. Comes with a stencil. We're not going to use a stencil. We're going to do some watercoloring, but I did want to show you what you can do with the stencil before we get going. So here's the stamp set. You've got two large lily clusters. And then you have, let me see, you have the dies, and we will be using them today to cut out the two flower clusters and one of the greetings. And then you have a stencil set. Let me grab it out of my storage pocket here. You have a stencil set that will, color in all the individual elements of each of the lilies clusters. This came out in December. I haven't had a chance to use it with you all here live yet, and I thought, let's do this thing. I love it. And this is just, we're going to do really simple watercolor with Karin markers. So I'm going to start out by, I'm going to be stamping both of the flower clusters, and we're just going to stamp them on watercolor paper because, like I said, we're doing watercolor today. The watercolor paper I'm using is Fabriano Artistico Extra White. It is my favorite. I'm hoping I can fit both of these on this 5x7 sheet. I think I can. Because I am going to be doing some watercolor on these, I'm going to use a waterproof ink. This is VersaFine Clair Nocturne. So this is a very detailed set of stamps, lots of line work. So I'm anticipating I'll need to stamp these at minimum twice. If it goes in, like without any spots that need a second stamping, that'll be a miracle. Not a miracle today. Okay, I'm just gonna press these down as much as I can. I don't want to press too hard and kind of blob out the lines, but I do want to get the lines really solidly on there. Okay. And you know what? While we have the ink and the Misty out, I might as well stamp the greeting, right? And then I'm going to use this really large greeting that says, "May you feel surrounded by love and support." I love that greeting. And I've been wanting to use it on a card because it can be for a lot of different reasons or occasions that you might need to send that. All right, and I'm going to use the same black ink. This will tie in the lines of the flowers with the rest of the card. And I'm just going to really gently, I'm barely pressing down because I want to make sure it keeps the font really dainty. And it looks like that's what it did, so we love that. We're going to end up die cutting the flowers eventually, so we'll just die cut this greeting at the same time when that happens. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to be doing this with Karin markers. So let's grab my markers. These are the Realbrush Pro markers from Karin. And I looked up some different pictures of lilies online. A lot of them were the kind of lilies that are bright pink in the center of the flower and then fade out to white. But I wanted to do something a little bit more colorful, and I did find some. I have no idea what these are called, but they're like a bright yellow in the center, and then they extend out to like a bright pink, and then on the edges of the petals, it's a little bit more of an intense red. It's almost like fire and ice colors, but pink, not red. So pretty. So those are the types of colors I'm going to be grabbing today. All right, let's do some leaves first. Why not? And I have a size 4 Prado brush, but I think I might want a 2. Is this a 2 or a 0? It's a 2. Sorry, my chair is totally squeaking tonight. All right, I think I'll use a 2 actually for most of this. And since we're going to start with the leaves, I'm going to do some of the olive green on this plastic palette and the indigo blue as well. And then if I need to come and you know, put the marker directly onto the paper, I can do that as well. I'm spraying my paper first. Okay, so it's nice and wet. I'm going to put this blue color right here. The purple's already right there. I'm also going to grab a larger brush if I can find one. This is a size 8 Escoda Prado. And I'm going to grab some of this blue and I'm just going to start dropping it in. I want it to be really light and bright at the top of the background. Then I'm going to bring in the purple. Sorry, you can't even see it. Bring the purple over here. And maybe I'll just start bringing it right down here. Maybe I'll bring a little bit here. And just by wetting the paper before I added color, it really encourages the color to spread. I'm coming in with just a wet brush here now. I'm just dabbing some of these harsher lines to get the color kind of moving. I want a little bit more color, so I'm going to grab this tiny bit of pink. Let's bring it down right here. In fact, I'm going to grab a little bit more pink on my palette because I feel like I need to just like bridge the gap of some of this right here. Come in with a wet brush, just add more water so it really gets things moving. Okay, I'm hoping I can fit these on. Oh, good. The dies aren't going to be too close, so I can't die cut them at the same time. Okay. Oh, that was a very good idea. And while we're doing the die cutting, we need to do our greeting. We'll just come in here and we'll grab this one too. I think if you put your piece through at a diagonal, I think it cuts better. So, and it doesn't have to be at a diagonal on the plate, but you can kind of feed it through your machine at a diagonal, and that really does a lot too. So even just a little bit of a diagonal, I think it cuts better. So let's test this theory. Okay. Yeah, clean cut. So I think the reason it didn't cut before is just I didn't have it at a diagonal. All right, I'm using my Tombow Extreme Adhesive. I'm trying to get the adhesive as close to the edge as possible. Okay, making sure my card is opening that direction. Okay, put that on there. Okay, so the gold frame is going to go down first. And to help me adhere it, I'm going to use the negative from when I cut out the frame. So this is what I recommend that you do. I'm just going to use a little bit of temporary adhesive. And I put that in the center of the card. Hold that down. Then I'm going to take my glue and I'm just going to run a thin line of glue right on the edge around this gold rectangle, like right up next to the edge, so that when I put the frame on, it'll just catch the glue. I find that putting glue on the back of the frame and then trying to adhere it, sometimes it goes on in the wrong spot and it's not as positioned nicely, I guess you could say. So I like to do this. And then I just come in and I puzzle piece it on and make sure it's around all those edges. And then you can just like bend back your card and lift up that rectangle, and then your frame is on there perfectly. Okay, so these are going to go on just like this. This one's going to be adhered, kind of overlapping the frame a little bit over there, and then this one's going to come over like this and then hang off the bottom. I'm going to chop off the bottom. I do want them, let's see, do I want them popped up? I think I'm going to adhere this one directly down onto the card. I'm just going to glue it. And then the other one, I'll put some foam on the back to pop it up. So I'm just adding glue, make sure I get all of the edges really well. And it is going to overlap that gold frame a little bit on this side here. So I want to make sure I have plenty of glue on the flower. All right, and then this is going like right here. Making sure that stem is like the same up and down as the frame. And I'm going to place some paper weights on top just to hold that down while it dries. And the bottom here is going to hang off the edge of the card. So I'm not too concerned about the foam hanging off the bottom because I'm going to have to cut it off anyway. Stephanie, yes, I have cut myself while cutting foam. And then I don't realize it until I'm like, where's this blood coming from? Because my scissors are so sharp that I don't even feel it cut me. You know what I'm saying? Just come in about like this. And then, like I said, I'm just going to cut the bottom here. Just lost a little bit off the bottom of the card. And then I'm just going to put the greeting on some of that foam where it's going to overlap the flower just a tiny bit. Okay. Let's see. Where do I want it? Over there or a little over there? Yeah, I think you can go a little off the frame. Yeah. Just like that. It's a really big greeting, actually. So here is the finished card design. I like that little pop of gold. Having the lilies popped up just a little bit, I think really finishes off the card. They look very tropical to me, not like normal lilies, but I think it still looks really great. So once again, this is the Long Line Lilies bundle. Specifically, I used the stamps and dies today. I did not use the stencils, but like I showed earlier in the video, you can use stencils. You don't have to watercolor. You could even ink blend and get a similar look, and it would look really, really pretty. Thanks so much for watching today. I'll be back next Monday for my weekly live. In between, I have an edited video for you that I'm hoping to get up this week. Didn't have time last week to do it, so I'm really hoping for this Thursday or Friday, so watch for that as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.